So much going on globally and personally, individually, in Yerushalayim, in Israel, in the Holy Land. We are here, thank God, in our studio. We give a big shout out to our host, Rabbi Shalom Arush, Rabbi Shalom Ben Yemna, should be well, and all our wonderful followers and guests, people that join us weekly. Let's add a little bit of color over here on the YouTube. Thank God we're live. YouTube Live Breslov English, as well as Instagram, IG Breslov English. It's underscore in the middle, and on our Facebook Live. Thank you so much. We have Breslev.com. We managed to feature one of the classes, the Determined Soulful Peace, I think, or Souls of Peace. That's it. Determined Souls of Peace. Were featuring that class, important class, came up now on the feed on the Breslev.com website. The official version is out. We put it up on our platforms as well as on our podcast. Breslev Israel, Emuna is our future. As we all are sensing, this is the end of days. This is the last dance. This is the climax, the great climax that we've been talking about the last few weeks. It could be also the great climax of being doing these classes. So we've really got to make headway. We have a lot of cool feedback from everyone. I'm on fire over here in the Instagram world. Just a bit of love and light, as well as we'll be going ahead in our New Light book from Rabbi Shalom Arush. Awesome, needed teachings for our generation. And let's go into your feedback. We're dedicated to Baruch Daina Emes, to Ari Twersky Zatzal. He was passed away, a friend of mine, very similar age, with a large family. Anyone who has ability to help them should. And very unfortunate tragedy in passing. And simcha and comfort to the whole Twersky family, also to the family of a recent soldier who was passed away in his Targil and his training. And I was very scared that day. We'll discuss it maybe a bit more in the class. And my wife as well, my soulmate, we heard that there was someone who unfortunately tragically been killed in recent training, and my oldest son is in the same training right now, and we didn't know who it was. And the good news for us was it wasn't us, our son. It was a different unit. But the terrible news is a family who had 60 beautiful t-shirts printed for the coming up techers for the graduation of his unit 202, and unfortunately they will not be able to use them because he is in the Olam Emes, in the world of truth. We wish for only simchas and good news in the Holy Land. Very, very sad. But let's try keep on a positive flow as we have real work to do, as we mentioned in the title. This is not Real Emuna Tuesday. We're actually switching, I think, for the next few weeks to Wonderful Wednesday, which works perfect as well because I'll be in England starting next week. At the end of next week, we'll be able to do another class on Wednesday, and then Thursday I'm flying. And then I'll be back on a Tuesday. So the Wednesday following, I'll be hopefully back in the studio with Hashem's help. So many inspired followers out there, giving a lot of love and blessings to all of you. It's full healing to everyone, specifically Avra Bas Chana, Tila Rivka Bas Masha, Chana Liba Bas Simcha, Chana Bas Frida, Shuvav for Shlema, and also to the Ilya Nishmas of all these souls who have passed, including the Gedalia Son, Yochanan and Gedalia. We appreciate the dedication of middle classes. And one of the reasons why we keep mentioning Gedalia's son, because we all gain from him passing on to the next world by the fact that Gedalia has so much more light to teach us, and has been motivated from his tragedy to do tremendous things. And that's the way. Amen. Yes, I appreciate that. Someone reached out Instagram. Yeah, the fire's burning over there. Thank you, Ellie Golson, for your dedication. Yeah, I appreciate it. Whoever wrote that. Next feedback. Kindness, connection. Commented, thank you, Hashem. Yes, always thanking Hashem. We don't have the thank you Hashem hat. We have the brewery, the hat for you guys to reach out and check it out online. Amazing brand out there. On the special chat, GPT Flow Bard 2, they enjoyed that. They wrote, me too. Toda Rabah for sharing this beautiful video. This is with lots of emojis. This is Rav Shalom Arush's weekly classes. We've been translation recently from Ralph Cohen. We appreciate him coming in, and we wish Mazel Tov again to Rav Dain Algrad and all the Chutz Chesed team for the graduation of 20 Rabbonim, including Ralph Cohen. Shalom Shalom Rabbeinu Elatono La Benigda Abutamente. Also, Rav Dain Algrad is mourning as well his father-in-law. So I also went to the Haskara this Sunday, so it's still going on somewhat, and hopefully this Sunday he should be back. My buenos dias, boss, Rav Shalom Arush, Feliz Shabbos, lots of nice Spanish contact for Rav Arush, and even on this English channel. Gabriel Cass, thank you, Rabbi. Gracias, Shem. Gracias, Raposit, and more. Torah, Haiku, Esther, for all those guys in Spanish. Kindness and giving video. Got a lot of reaction over there. Very important to give and be kind. Yosef Daniel wrote, I just changed a little bit the language there to keep it positive. He wrote the Holy Chavra. He said something else there. Kika Shabbat article. Yes, very special. Hashem bless you, dear Rav Eli. Thank you, our friend. And Eli, that was our weekly class, but this time he posted this on the official version, which is up now on YouTube, as well as our Brezov.com site and our podcast platform, able to upload videos there as well. Unity Inspired Project CEO, that's myself. I wrote Unity because I wrote a beautiful tribute to the House of Faith and Fashion. This is Toby. Funny enough, Toby just reached out on YouTube. Isn't that amazing? I put some flowers here as I was saying it. I don't know if it's the Toby Rubenstein, but we're giving a shout out to her book, her second book coming. Hopefully we'll have a nice quote from Rav Arush for the book, as well as Gedalia Fenster and Rav Pinchas Goldschmidt, as well as myself, if I'm meritorious to actually feature on the book. But I'll read out here what I wrote. We will continue to need this amazing creative flow from ever deep and pouring forth Toby Rubenstein. Our 2023 generation needs creative leaders more than ever. Her voice in person, written form, and visually expressed through fashion encourages faith more than ever, which faith is for us as Emuna, and her voice in person and written form. And yes, faith, aka Emuna, unity and wisdom, so needed right now to reach further, larger growing audiences. The world and fashion industry will only gain from her universal created expressed truth. Happy to be a friend and follower. Yes, we got that. Okay, great. And we had a lot of feedback about the Bard and ChatGPT stuff. Interesting. You can check out the past two classes where we read through about the Rav Arush and remember, I still have a spare copy. No one yet has reached out, taking me up on this. Remember, this offer is running out soon. So reach out eli.goldsmith@brezov.co or DM me with your address, with how you are sharing Emuna Global. That is our tagline. And let's get into the class because we have a lot to do. And excuse me if I'm not making 100% sense, just been a busy time in a lot of ways. And we're all doing our best. Everyone needs to be a little bit kind to each other, or kinder, as Tim Ferriss always adds at the end of his class, and a little bit more kindness. Some wrote fabulous, agreed. Good points of learning. That's what we're holding in a new light. Page 316. Every resolution and good decision you make is very good, says Rabbi Shalom Arush in the page 316 in chapter 7 of A New Light. Yeah. But the most useful resolution to enhance your knowledge and arouse your will is to engage in daily learning about the topic you are working to acquire. Why is that learning so important, decisive in the work of the will? Number one, that learning is very effective because the power of Torah is very great. Sichas Haran 19. That's from the Wisdom of Rabbeinu Nachman. You can check it out in the book of Brezov.org. I have the book there, Wisdom, it's called, and you'll be able to see over there on number 19. And the light within it causes a person to improve. Eicha Rabati. Torah has the power to subjugate the tremendous evil inclination that overwhelms a person and prevents him from walking on the path of life. Yes, this is the Eitz Chaim. This is Derech HaChaim. This is the way of life. We're not just learning here for fun or for entertainment. For me personally, it's tremendous Mesiras Nefesh, which we'll discuss a little bit when we mention Parshas Balak and Chukas Balak. For those out there, we'll combine it. We'll discuss that in a moment about the week Parsha. But the idea, this is the path of life. The Torah is guiding us weekly through the Chumash, through Rashi, through all the different learning opportunities of Daf Yomi. You have Lukkati Maron, Lukkati Halachas, you can learn daily. You can learn the books of God and Emuna. So much Torah available. This is the path of life. It gives us the wisdom, the balance, the guidance, the foundation to go ahead. As our sages said, if reprobate encounters you, drag him to the study hall. Who's this reprobate? The Yetzer Hara. It's a Gemara Kedushin, Daf Lamed, which is page 30, Amid Base, the second side. And he also quoted God as saying, I created the revelation and I created the Torah as its antidote. Yes, the Torah, let's make sure we're good on YouTube. You can see me good. The Torah is the antidote. You got that? We need a medication, not from Big Pharma, but from Hashem himself. The Creator itself has given us all the medication we need. It's through the Torah. Thus, the greatest tool with which to conquer evil inclination is deep practical learning and review. Now, we'll just pause for a moment. The front cover on YouTube is a picture of a special person who has just joined my updated Unity Bookings List member. You can always check in the description down below. We always have a bunch of links. Unity Inspire Projects, without an S, unityinspireprojects.com. Check it out. We've got a list in the speaking section, and there, Rabbi Yosef Mendelevitch is joining us. He's a refusenik from USSR, back in the USSR. Don't let me have fun. Yeah, who remembers that song? But it wasn't so much fun then. He was put in prison, and it was a very difficult situation. He managed to get out successfully and break the iron curtain that was then the USSR, and was able to help open a way for people like Nathan Sharansky. And I met someone literally that same day after meeting Rabbi Yosef in Yerushalayim to discuss Unity Bookings. There he was, this young man who's, I just mentioned that L'chaim is the Rosh Tevus. It was something Yosef said to me. Litvak, Hasidim, Yekers, and also all the other Jews with Yosef Mendelevitch. He said, I'm a L'chaim Jew. That's the first letter of the word L'chaim. He said, so I quoted this in Shirat David, in between Mincha Marav, and there was a Yid. And he said, my mother came out of Russia in the merit of Yosef Mendelevitch. He was the one who helped my mother get out. And next day, he came up to me all excited. He just had a baby boy, so I wished him mazel tov. This same Jew, not Yosef, but the guy who came up to me in Shirat David in a frat. And he came up to me all excited. He said, I met Yosef Mendelevitch that same day. I can't believe it. He was in a mall. I was in a mall. And there he was, the one who helped my mother get out. So why are we talking about this Jew? Because he is someone who wants to stand up and discuss his journey to fight not just the USSR, but the real battle, he said, and this is the key that we just mentioned here from Rabbi Shalom Arush, connects into what we're learning, is the evil inclination, the negativity within these voices that make people suicidal, like Ren. I don't know if any of you guys have listened to a guy called Ren. He's a new musician who's given me a lot of inspiration, even though, be careful some of the language, but the art and the creativity and the talent and the ability to capture 2023 challenges through him being so open, like NF, similar kind of vibe. He's from the UK. Amazing. He's talking about suicide. Who's that voice inside that's trying to make us give up? That is the voice of the evil inclination. That is our other side. That is within all of us. And every person, unless you're David HaMelech, who manages to chalal b'kirbi, to kill his Yetzer Hara or transform it to kulu tov, like Avram Avinu, b'chol levavcha. If you're not on such a level to be a student of Avram Avinu, we should all aspire for that. But in the meanwhile, we have to work with the Yetzer Hara, to transform it. We have to fight it. We have to be real that this is a daily part of life. I was laughing today because it's just so silly sometimes how the Yetzer Hara, for example, Mas Nasa, how the government, they want to overly tax and bituch lemi and this and that. Everyone's hitting on all sides. Your employer, they want to give you a raise when everything's going inflation. You start to think, whoa, what's going on here? All these things going on. And then the voices come within, people saying, you're not really so good at what you're doing. And then that's why, and then this and that. And you have to fight back to believe in yourself and to know that you're on a mission and you have a bigger purpose. You're on fire. Yes. Shlomo HaMelech, that's right. He was able to transform as well the evil inclination through song and shira, through mishle, and through all the different parts that he of Torah, that he was the guy, the shir Shem, all the intimate reality of Torah, bring it up to a holiness, to a song between us and Hashem. So the idea of taking all the moshul, all the story versions of life, and bringing it to the nimshul, the point, the purpose, the reason we're here. And that's why we're learning Torah. It takes the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, the force within, and brings it into Kedusha, into Tahara. The transformation takes place, and that's something which we need to do together with the Torah. We can't really do this alone, and that's what Rabbi Shalom Arush is teaching us here in the New Light. Let's go ahead. And I just mentioned Yosef because he was saying there wasn't the main battle was the USSR. The main battle was that evil inclination within, and that's how he wants to help other people. He wants to use those years of experience and journey of facing face to face with such a force out there to help inspire other people, just like Rav Arush is teaching here as well. As a person engaged in his daily learning, says in number 2, of advice and practical ideas, he will find that God's wondrous individual providence will provide him with the inspiration he needed that day, so he may draw down heavenly assistance to help overcome his evil inclination. So all the time Hashem is giving you advice, what you need that moment. You open up a book of halacha, it will guide you that moment. That's the laws. You open up a book of hashkafa, of outlook, it will guide you what you need that moment. You turn on a podcast from Rabbi Lord Sachs Atzal, or you turn on that I did today, or you turn on a podcast from Mordechai Satorsky talking about Hukas and Balak and how they're combined this year for most of the people in the world except for us in the Holy Land. And then by that being, we'll next week all be in Parshas Pinchas. When I'm in London next week, we'll be in Parshas Pinchas. We'll discuss that more next week, the idea of what Pinchas is all about. But we'll mention a little bit. But you're listening to this podcast from Mordechai Satorsky, or another Rav from Torah Anytime, or the other amazing platforms. Yeah, we've got Isaac, our friend from Brooklyn, or other people who are putting out amazing content. We mentioned Gedalia Fenster, all the wonderful people on our platforms. Yeah, we have Jonathan Belash and Ralph Cohen and all the other wonderful people that we feature weekly. The little clips from Rabbi Shalom Arush, myself, trying to put out something with Natila recently. Check it out on our platforms. Natila did a partnership post we spoke about last week about the idea of peace and making space. Beautiful concepts from Wywer Jacobson. There's opportunities we're doing by learning and listening, and then through those moments of listening and focus into what you'll see with divine providence, it'll be exactly what you needed. Pintlach, as they say in Yiddish, it'll be exactly what you need. You need. That Torah is talking to you. Hashem himself is talking through the Torah. It's a kiss of Shikra, the idea that you're becoming Davik to Hashem, you're becoming one with Hashem. So then the flow, you're tuned into the flow of creation, you're hearing and experiencing a oneness when you're learning, and that gives you what you need for that moment of creation. This type of learning, says in number 3, inspires a person to do the work of the will seriously, which is the whole book, Garden of Yearning. Hashem created man in such a way that by nature is egotistical, self-interested, and focused on his own benefit. So just hearing someone on Joe Rogan's podcast saying that's one of the main blocks between someone getting more spiritually connected is the ego. So there's no bigger way of destroying the ego or handling the ego or elevating the ego through Torah. B'tzalei yesh, as it says in Chabad. Yeah, everyone wants a good life, peace in the home, a decent income, health, and goodness for his family. Everyone wants to be safe from troubles and fortune. And in spirituality, everyone wants to succeed in learning Torah, acquiring good traits, becoming a true, holy, and pure sage who has Emuna and engages in real tefillah, real prayer, real work. Yeah, this is the kind of work we're trying to do. And there's no work, or rest rather, there's no rest for the wicked. No, that's a silly quote. There's no rest for us, but our souls. We have to realize that we're here to omo. We're here to make effort. That's one of you I did fire. Yeah, the forces outside of us are trying to destroy us. Pashas Balak, there's a whole kitrug, a whole negative energy in the world trying to curse us. But what do? We work hard, and then they'll see our sincerity, they'll see our light. As Bilam himself was forced to say, Ma tov alecha Yaakov mishkan asech Yisrael, how goodly are your tents, Yaakov, and your dwellings, your place, your base of Joshua, your places of holiness, Yisrael, how amazing they are, how special. And that's the idea, that we have the ability to bring light to the world, and we have the ability to share wisdom and share values and share truth to all the sphere of influence that we're surrounded by. I was talking to someone on the tram today, how it's Mesiras Nefesh. This Mesiras Nefesh we're going to talk about now. From at the end of Balak, we see that there's a big kitrug again, because even though Balak's talking about the days of Mashiach, but the days of Mashiach, just before that comes, there's going to be a lot of challenges with Pagama Bris, with the idea of Kedushas of Bris. We're trying to elevate the Brit, the covenant, the sexual aspects of humanity. That's why you see there's such a covering right now of all these different kinds of sexualities that are making up, and all these different ways of life of being, and all these painful experiences people are going through sexually, emotionally, and it's a tremendous challenge for people. This is the challenge of our generation. Previous times it was about keeping Shabbat. If you want to keep Bisham Shabbat, you have to give up your job. Now it's a challenge to guard the bris, to have real relationships with your soulmate, remember you're a soul, and you have someone who's destined for you. And if you're not meritorious to have that person, you work on yourself and pray until you do. And if you're still not meritorious, you pray to be soul connection with all of humanity, to be connected to Hashem himself, to be married to God, to realize you have a spirituality that surpasses all the desires and low levels of how people are being expressed nowadays of AI and all this stuff, the made up fancy world of desires online, all these binging online of content. We need to go into the darkness out there. The main point is, it's at the end of Balak. This is the Eitzah of Balak, Bilam, specifically Bilam. Bilam's Eitzah is the Bilam's wanting to guide us towards breaking the bris of not being loyal to our purpose, not being loyal to our source, not being loyal to our soul connection. And the whole fight is with someone like Pinchas comes along, and he initiates the fight back, the defense of our people and the world of spirituality through intuiting to what Hashem really wants, tuning into, as we're learning here, the Torah of the will, the work of the will. This is real work. This is soul work. We have to do this all day, every day, no matter where we are. Every minute we're being challenged nowadays with what we look at, what we think about, how we speak. It's not like back in the day the streets were cleaner. The experience of work was somewhat a specific focus. Now you could be pulled into darkness, into negativity very quickly, into externalization very quickly. Even the companies themselves are requiring nowadays all kinds of training that takes you away from values and truth. And you have to be strong. You have to be able to stand up with Mesiras Nefesh, with going beyond yourself to make sure that it fits your principles. For me personally, it's been one long challenge since I left London, because there's a lot of success, a lot of honor, and here, Hashem Yahzor, in an external sense, in the Holy Land, it's challenge after challenge. Baruch Hashem, we do these classes, but as you can see, there's not like 1 million people following, and as you can see, you guys haven't yet shared it globally, as we've asked many, many times. You're nervous what your platforms is, what other people will say. You're not able to be truly courageous and share the wisdom that we're sharing from Rav Arush and from the Tzaddikim and from all the different paths of Judaism that I'm meritorious to being part of. I was most nefesh to learn by Tzaddikim. That meant I lived in a simple way. I lived simply in the Holy Land, as many others here have as well. And it's a Mesiras Nefesh, it's a choice. And we're still living here, thank God. And people help us, and Hashem helps us. But the main thing is that we have to really face the pain, face the battles, really go for it, all of us now, and start to influence the world with values and truth, so that we can fight the darkness with light. So we could be like a Pinchas at the end of the Pasha, stand up for truth and fight with the spear of Torah, with the tefillah, with prayer, be like a kohen, a priestly person who brings peace and love and connection to people, and to fight all these negative voices that are trying to create hatred and division, trying to create race divides and sexual divides and this kind of division, that kind of division, and controlling us. As Ben Shapiro wisely said, they're trying to make us fat, stupid, and lazy. We need to be focused. We need to be energized, healthy, and ready for war, ready for the battle that we're in a daily, and to keep fighting it, not to give up. And if there are people around you who are suffering, to have empathy and rahmanas and mercy on them. It's not easy. People are going through so much on an inner level. Someone wrote, I found my people only in 2015. It was in Kibbutz Sudyam. Imagine the pain I had to go through to come to us, the Hasidim from Kibbutzniks. Yes, Baruch Hashem, wonderful Kibbutzniks. I was in a kibbutz once many years ago, picking tomatoes, how you say it. Anyway, let's keep learning, because that's the key. We've mentioned 3 important points, yes? This is the good points of learning. Therefore, when we are aware of the substantial benefit that we attain when we succeed, and the losses that we sustain if we do not succeed, our human nature is aroused to want which will benefit and help us, which will keep us far from harmful and injurious elements. We are all familiar with our nature embedded within us. We must direct it properly and use it for the good. In short, when a person is aware of the benefits of attaining his goal, and vice versa, he will change is around and he is aroused, and he is thus impelled to engage seriously in the work of the will, Ratzon, relatively. And this is number 4, point 4, the end of page 317 in a new light. Let's go ahead. Relatively few obstacles stand in the way of learning. Learning is not especially hard and does not make unusual demands on a person. Therefore, it's possible to regularly implement the advice which will arouse the will. As you have learned in this book, the core of the work of the will that leads to change is daily prayer, in which a person verbally expresses his intentions. However, the first and necessary step is learning. Learning is the start of the work of Hashem, because it gives a person the power to strengthen himself in prayer. Torah learning and prayer complement each other. As the verse says, you shall know today and you shall place upon your heart. Learning the Torah, that's from Devarim 4:39. Therefore, learning the Torah corresponds to you shall know today. You shall have the knowledge. You must revitalize and heart the Torah every day. That you engage in prayer, pleading, beseeching Hashem to inject your mental knowledge into your heart. That corresponds to you shall place upon your heart. Emphasize the heart. You have to bring the Torah. But believe it has to go in the heart, not but believe in the heart. To put it in the heart. It says Bilam, he was believe. What does that mean? He was totally consumed with the lave, with the heart, with the heart's desires. But our purpose is to be upon the heart, the mind. But we have to make sure that Torah penetrates the heart level and transforms us. So we're not just cut off, God forbid, by the place of das, That was why it said by Bilam, he had das Elyon. He knew the higher wisdoms, but it was all for klipa, it was all for negativity, it was all for preachers, it was nus. He was with the donkey in an intimate way. That was where he was at. Yeah, animalistic behaviors or other bestiality, all the kind of horrible stuff that people starting in nowadays will get back to that kind of horrible thing. These are vice of Bilam. We have to fight it. To fight that negative advice and come up with the advice of the Tzaddikim. The advice of the Tzaddikim is to connect our heart and mind, to bring the Torah into our heart through prayer. This is what Rabbi Arush is teaching us. And we see by Pinchas, he was such a person, and it will be the climax of this time period. Pinchas Eliyahu, he was continued on through the Neshama, Nadav and Avihu, through Pinchas, through the Neshama, into Elanovi, gave us Elijah was able to be the one to announce Mashiach and be all the way till Mashiach's coming, to help us in exile, to give us the ability. Yes. The greatest prophet and a donkey. That's right, someone wrote. It was a good shidduch. Yeah, very sad. Because he had tremendous wisdom and he could have used it for spirituality. He said you can have wisdom and use it for the wrong side. So you have to use it with Torah to change ourselves, become bigger and connected people to godliness. Rabbi Nachman says that when we learn Torah forcefully, all of our prayers, this is point 6, all our prayers, our requests are accepted. Learning Torah forcibly means that a person spends time every day learning about the topic that he's working on. That learning has the power to help his good inclination overcome his evil inclination. Like today, I'm learning Kitzur Shulchan Aruch on with someone, a Chavrusa in Efrat, on the 3 weeks coming up. Yeah, because it's very important to learn the rules of where we're going to, where we're heading to, and also learning Chassidus. We're learning Rabbi Boega, and we're learning, we mentioned beautiful Torah this last week about the idea of how Shabbos brings healing, and we've been learning from Arush how Shabbos, bringing it in early and extending it, brings Yeshuot. And we also mentioned now the Zerah Shimshon, learn that weekly as well. Thank you, Hashem, for the opportunity to learn the Zerah Shimshon. Beautiful set at the Zerah Shimshon. Check it out. Lots of new classes, a beautiful story from Chizki and the Yanuka, blessing the learning of the Zerah Shimshon, and all the other Tzaddikim of Shalom Arush himself has blessed the learning of Zerah Shimshon. This is the idea of we have opportunity to learn Torah, to share Torah, learn it with friends. We have a chabura, we have a whole group of us learning, and there's an Israeli chabura as well, Kolel, and they're learning after midnight, a very special time, and some other friends join that as well. And the idea is that we're learning the Zerah Shimshon all around the world, learning God and Emuna all around the world, learning these books. It brings Torah, the Daf Yomi, it brings Torah global, and that, just like we say, Emuna global, Torah needs to be global. And that's why we're bringing these concepts together, collaborating together with all kinds of learning. Also, learning Torah helps a person understand the hints of what exists in all of reality and how to come close to Hashem. The Torah consists of the names, it's in the middle of page 318, of the Holy One, blessed be that. It's all Shemus Hashem, Shemus HaKodesh, it's deep stuff. Yeah, when you're learning Torah, you're learning Hashem's names. Thus, you're calling Hashem, you're connecting to Hashem in the most intimate way. Thus, learning the Torah helps a person subjugate the spirit of foolishness, which all sins result. As a result, his words will have grace with Chayin in the eyes of Hashem and Adam, as we say in Birkas Hamazon, and Hashem will want him and accept his prayers. It says in the Likutei Moharan 1. Learning Torah in this way is called learning forcefully. It has to be pushed, because the chak, I think. Because when this learning is, a person makes a special effort to insert all that he has learned in mind, heart, and life. As they say in Yiddish, shtip, it has to be shtip, shtipnish, stup. You have to push the Torah, push it in. People have all kinds of force and energy towards all kinds of silliness. Push the Torah into our heart, make it real. You have to push it, make it happen. Yeah, to have a rots and a will to do that. And that's what we're learning here in the new light. The essence of a person's character, measure of his success, corresponds, part 7, to his knowledge or awareness. If you have acquired knowledge, what do you lack? Says in the Dharam, page 41, first side. Only a person's awareness of determines whether or not he will withstand the test he undergoes. Like we just had the Dharam in Daf Yomi, Baruch Hashem, Rav Cohen's going to be doing a class soon. Learning Torah enhances a person's awareness, and when he prays, he inserts awareness into his heart. As a whole, he will certainly be able to withstand the challenges of life. Yeah, Torah gives you the 8, the keys to deal with yourself, to deal with your evil inclination, deal with those inner voices. Imagine if Ren had access to Torah. Imagine if the NF had. Imagine if Elon Musk, I was watching an interview with him, Zubi, and our friend Zubi, had an opportunity to discuss Torah, to know that they have a neshama, that the nations of the world also have an opportunity to have a portion in the Torah and connect into their light, into their unique soul, so they don't just divide up humanity into certain levels of mental and emotional and physical. They have spiritual, they have a soul that's elevating the whole part of humanity, that gives elevation to AI. We'll give elevation to all the technological developments. We'll give us values to guide everything in the right way, to give us the infrastructure, the ability, as they're always talking about this idea of giving the right rules system. There's a specific word I'm not remembering right now, but every place needs to have its certain rules and guidance. So imagine if technology was bound to Torah, and now there'd be no risk of AI destroying humanity, because part of the Torah is thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. It will be part of the Torah. It will have intrinsic connection to values and truth, and it will spiritualize the whole technological system that's coming up and already here somewhat. Number 8, when a person is tested, for instance, when he's under pressure or angry or especially vulnerable, his mind is not settled. Thus, he does not pass the test, but if he has learned Torah and acquired awareness, a faint imprint of that awareness will remain with him, and that imprint will protect him and guide him. Life is war, and in the middle of a battle, a person does not always act with a clear mind. But if he has trained himself repeatedly, and this is something you can feel from Gedalia and any of these other army-style people. My son himself, his oldest son, is now in the army, and it's training him. He's becoming more of a mensch. He's becoming more trained in how to act when things happen, getting less upset or aggressive. He's more in control of his attributes, so he can be more focused. And the constant training in Torah and learning and praying and working on the will, this gives us the ability to become elevated in all kinds of situations. When they, as they say, something hits the fan, we have the ability to deal with it, to clean it up, to not get affected by it. When he's under pressure, he functions properly without thinking, because as a result of his substantial practice, actions become automatic and natural. David Melech naturally went to the place of Torah, whereas Esav went to the place of other worship. We have to be tuned in to the right places and the right ways of life, so that it's part of our intrinsic nature. We wake up and we're ready to be an Eved Hashem, to say Moda Ani, to thank Hashem for life. Yes, even when his awareness leaves him. And so when a person is tested in the course of his life, if he had reviewed the subjects many times, no one will stand by him. But although that is of great assistance, it's not yet perfection. Perfection means a person gains a work of will and masters the matter completely. Okay, so we're going to go next week into a little bit more of the war that's going on, and the kind of way we're going to hopefully resolve. We're going to try finish chapter 7, hopefully for next week, if not the week after when we get back from England. Remember, anyone can reach out to me. Got all my links, all my Unity bookings artists. Someone mentioned music on YouTube. There's lots of good music out there. I want to mention again, Nissan Black put out a new song, not just Fired Up, which works well with the Instagram, but about a new song called Mi Ha'ish. Together with Open.Ai and Niggin Project. Beautiful song, really taken back to the old days of Nissan Black. Love the energy. Yom Tov. Biton put out a new song, sharing it. Michael Salmon is going to be in America next few weeks, a mentalist. A lot of good energy going on in the summer months of people trying to put out their beautiful energy and content and music, their inspiration. Thank God we're always sharing as much as we can what we're blessed to. Yosef Mendelevitch, for example, he's someone from the previous time, but he's now hopefully figured out a way to help us for 2023. Have to always keep what we're doing relevant and up to date, as well as the teachings of Torah, to make it universal and bring it alive. It's alive, it's Eitz Chaim, it's relevant for now, it's guiding us this moment. Divine providence, all the people of Torah, Rabbi Arush, and all the wonderful people. So we're going to make way for Rav Cohen's going to come in a minute and do his class. Wishing everyone a wonderful end to the week, and please God, a beautiful Shabbos, Pashas Balak, Chukas Balak, with transforming the Golas to Gula. And we're getting ready to transform this time of Tammuz and Av into days of Mashiach. And the 3 weeks, please God, should be times of dancing, of elevation. We'll see the joy, all the accomplishments, all the hard work we did, and the real work of the soul that we put into everything we're doing. And we'll see how that will manifest with tremendous light and love to the whole of humanity. Amen. Amen. Thank you for joining us. Please share on. Appreciate it. Much love. All the best.